samba até de manhã, uma giga em cada andar. O meu lugar é cercado de luto e suor, esperança no mundo melhor, e cerveja pra comemorar. Bom dia, Charles Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea. Welcome to another episode of Aspire Beast Council Review, where we'll deal analysis properties that are currently on the market and using the Aspire system to do so. Thank you again for showing up. This is Aspire Investing LLC, bringing you the Aspire Beast Council that we created using our calculator, and so that individuals can better understand how to analyze deals so we can create more investors out there in the market. Again, I'm your host, Charles Anthony D. Clark. I'm your real estate investment broker with Next Home My Way. Want to always give a big shout out to Next Home My Way, the brokerage where I hang up my license to run my team, which is Raise the Standard Real Estate. And always want to give a shout out to Angel, the broker owner here. He has 2 locations here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he has another brokerage in Lake Mary, Florida. So if you are a snowbird and wanting to have a place down in Florida, we can definitely help you with that transition. I also want to give a shout out to our broker manager, Jose, who's always so helpful and always there to support the agents here and making sure that they have all the tools and resources to do their job to the best of their abilities. And then Carlos Rios, who is the life force, the lifeblood, the happiness that comes through our doors, who at any moment can put a smile on your face. And he's the spirit of the team. So I just always want to give a big shout out to all 3 of those, because without them, I would not be able to put on the Tuesday deal analysis, the Wednesday podcast, and the monthly meetings that we hold here at Next Home My Way's headquarters, which is located at 5151 South Howell Avenue. So if you are an agent, broker, or someone thinking about becoming a real estate agent or broker, definitely give us a call. We are here to help agents build their real estate business and brand, because in today's market, it's about personal brands and having people, you know, want to work with you. The days of franchises be the reason why someone wants to work with you, or someone says, "What brokerage are you with?" "Oh, I want to work with someone from such and such." Right? I think those days are gone. It's more about who you are as a person and the service that you provide. So with that being said, always a big shout out to Next Home My Way, and always want to give credit where it's credit's due. And if you are an agent, broker, or someone interested in becoming a real estate agent, please reach out to us. We have a home for you. Then I want to always, talk about me and what I bring and about my team. And always just like to share the 3 mottos that help me run my team with Raise the Standard. And our first one is raise the standard of living. If the deal doesn't improve my client's life, their family, my life and my family's life, and the community that we serve, then that's a deal we don't want to be a part of. So we're all about the win-win-win situation and Raise the Standard. Second one is be better by being better. Our whole goal is always trying to improve our processes, ourselves, our systems, the way we do business, the tools that we use. We're always trying to improve. If it's 1% improvement or 50% improvement, we just want always to move forward in the direction of improving. And the last one is, what's your legacy? Why are you doing this? What are you doing this for? Why are you making this decision? Why do you want to invest? We try to answer that big why with every transaction that we're doing, so that we are always aligned with our customers, our clients, and the communities that we serve. Right? We don't want to represent someone who wants to do something in a community that doesn't represent what that community wants or needs in that space. Right? So we always want to make sure that we're aligning with all three of those um, areas, to make sure that we're doing the best that we can. All right, so let's get into the expire. So I'm trying to get better at this, and I'm trying to get through this in a more timely a matter, especially with only analyzing one deal. But I try to go a little bit deeper in things so that you understand how I'm coming up to things, especially because I'm using a calculator that I created in ChatGPT and Claude. And so it's popping out a lot of information. And so I am trying to move through it quicker, but also explain some of the things, because when I do it myself, I can probably analyze a deal probably in 15 to 20 minutes with the calculator. I just take a little bit longer trying to explain, our process, how we got to things, and how you can be a better investor, um, business, right? Because that's one of the things that we always want to make clear and understand, and show um, everyone out there and our clients that we don't help people buy properties. We help people buy businesses. They just so happen to be properties, right? So that's the goal that we're trying to do here, right? We're just not trying to analyze a deal just so you can analyze a deal. We try to analyze a deal so that you can understand if it fits your portfolio, your criteria, your business strategy. Because I don't talk to individuals on a one-off basis, right? I don't help someone just buy a property. That's not what we do here. We help people build real estate investment business, and it's not about getting one property. It's understanding their investment theses and making sure that the property that they're buying fits the portfolio that they're trying to create. And so it's never just one deal with us. A lot of our clients, I would say 95% of our clients is trying to implement the BRRRR strategy or fix and flip, which I say they're the same thing, right? Fix and flip is the same thing as a BRRRR. You just don't sell it. You refinance it and pull the money out that way. And so that's the premise that we take, because it's not about just helping you buy one property. If that was the case, I would refer you out to someone else, because they probably better serve you than I could. All right, so before we get into it, I want to explain to you the calculator that we're going to use. So this is the calculator right here. It's the Aspire Beast Council. This is our deal command center. And how it is broken down, we use the acronym Aspire to help you create a system to analyze deals. So A is for address and asset. So obviously we need to know what we're analyzing, so that's where the address comes in. And what is the asset, right? What it you gave me the address, but is it a duplex, single family, um, you know any other property that we have out there, mixed use, commercial? So we need to understand that. And then I would say also at A, because I like the term reverse engineering and approach that to a lot of the things that we do, you kind of want to know what you think this deal will be right at the beginning. So, hey, for example, this property that we're going to look at today is a duplex, and the client that I was going to, I think they were going to house hack. So that's kind of the approach. So like it's more of a house hack slash BRRRR. So we kind of want to go into it like knowing that, not to say we want us to lock us in, but it should meet our strategy, right? And so if your strategy is BRRRR, you kind of know that going in, like, hey, this is a BRRRR. Obviously, doing fix and flips can fall into that same category. So, but you want to have that premise. S is seller situation. So seller situation is who's selling it and why, right? If you can learn those things, then that just makes the situation a little bit better, so that you know how to negotiate. So seller situation, is it a person? Is it a distressed seller? Is it an LLC? Is it the city? Is it the bank? and knowing who's selling it, and and if you can understand why, that better helps you understand the numbers going down. P is for purchase price and purchase assumption. Obviously the seller has their price. You should have some assumption of what you think it should be, and seeing where those numbers are, and if you're close or far off, could help you to avoid wasting time, right? If you're $50,000 off, maybe that's not going to work. But now if we're dealing with a $1 million property and 50,000, that might work, right? But if it's 100,000 and it should be sold at 50, there might be an issue there. I is for investment or improvement. Obviously, a lot of the deals, like I said, 98% of the deals that we look at, it's going to be some value add, because we always want to redeploy our capital. We don't want our capital sitting. And luckily, real estate is one of those assets that you can put 50,000 in and then 6 months later pull 75,000 back out, or pull 35,000 of that 50 out and then reuse it. I'd like to always share a little story of, I had a customer reach out and, was wanting to get some consultation on how to scale. And, as our conversation was going, I asked him, has he bought something recently? And he's actually said, yeah, I got a duplex. It's actually going well. We're cash flowing. I just now need to figure out, how do I get that next deal? And I was like, well, why aren't you using that deal to get your next deal? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you obviously rent it out, you fix it up, your cash flowing. Did you not fix it up enough so that you can refinance and pull that money back out and do that? He was like, well, no, I used the DSCR loan. I used some of my own cash to fix it up, and we got to rent it. So right there, that strategy was completely against what he was trying to accomplish. He wanted to scale, so he needed to implement a strategy where he can redeploy his capital that he put into the deal, instead of just letting it sit there and now he's wondering where he's going to find the money, right? And again, that not necessarily might be the bad strategy because he has that deal, but if he wasn't having things in the fire where he could get money from somewhere else to get the next deal, now he's stuck. So if he was working through himself to do this, then acquiring a property where he could put the money in it, fix it up, make it more valuable than what it is, rent it out, and then pull that money out to go use to get the next deal. That was the strategy that he should have employed. And that's what we try to bring as real estate investment brokers and raise the standard. And with Aspire is to help clients understand, what are you ultimately trying to do? And that's where I said, I don't help you try to buy a property, right? That whatever agent, and this is me not knocking that agent, but that agent was just trying to help him buy a property. He wasn't trying to help him implement his strategy, which was, I want to scale my real estate investment business, right? And so those are two entirely different things, of someone just helping you buy a property and someone helping you build your real estate investment business. R is for revenue, and that could be, in our situation, cash flow or profit when you sell it, right? If it's a fix and flip, it's a profit. If it's a BRRRR, you're more looking at cash flow and you being able to pull that cash, capital back out. So that's R. We're always looking for that. And then E is your exit strategy. So now it's like full circle. So now, as we went through all this, does the exit strategy meet with what you originally thought, or is it something entirely different? And there's 5 exit strategies. There's buy and hold, BRRRR, fix and flip, seller creative financing, and wholesaling. Those are the 5 outcomes that we are shooting for in most of our deals, so that we can put everything together. With that being said, I do want to bring up a recent article that was in Zillow to talk about our market. And Zillow had this out, hottest rental markets for summer 2026. As you can see, in the Northeast, coastal California are home to most competitive rental markets nationwide. But as you go down, it goes through the list. Zillow's top hottest rental markets for summer 2026. Right there. Milwaukee, number 8. We're hot. Chicago's close, but Milwaukee is hot. And beyond Chicago being one of the Midwest, Milwaukee is the small market in all this, besides Hartford. But that's just where money is right now, right? But yeah, again, Milwaukee is one of those. So we are hot, right? So competition is here. We have a lot of out-of-state investors that's looking. And so if you are, please reach out, right? Every agent is not made the same, and every agent is not trying and doesn't understand what you're trying to accomplish. Can they do the transaction? Absolutely. Can the agent get you from offer to purchase? Can they help you list your fix and flip? Absolutely. But I don't think they understand what you're truly trying to accomplish, because they're just helping you sell a property. And again, the whole point of what we do is to help you build a real estate investment business. And I truly, truly, truly believe those are two entirely different things. So with that being said, let's get on to it. So again, this is the Aspire Beast Council Deal Command Center. So what we will do is hit our first button, and then it will kind of go through it, and it will explain some things. And again, if you've been following us and you've been researching, this was something that was built out because we have the Aspire investment group, who meets the second Wednesday of every month here at our headquarters in Next Home My Way, 5151 South Howell Avenue, where we get together and have investors meet and go over some deals, right? We try to hold people accountable. One of the things that we try to do with Aspire Investment Group is it's all about execution, right? You can read all the books, you can listen to YouTube videos like this and other ones, and all those individuals out there. But if you're not taking those steps to move forward, then what are we doing, right? And we don't want to sugarcoat anything. We are not just trying to get cash from people to be in our group. We are genuinely wanting to help people move forward. So with myself and Devin, the co-operator with me, we're both brokers. So that was one of the things that and he's a commercial real estate broker, and I am a regular, I don't want to say regular, but I'm your broker that tends to deal with, your retail clients. And that's what I kind of wanted to bring. I understood there was a gap in the market for your mom and pop investors, your mid-managed managers who want to be in real estate because they know this is the best way for them to generate income, right? They are they are understanding the importance of what it why it's important to have investments, right? And they know that they need to be in real estate. They just don't necessarily always know how to go about it, and they don't want to take away from the career that they enjoy, right? I do work with some people that are trying to get out of their career and do real estate, and there's some people that say, "No, I love what I do, but I know I need to invest in real estate to have the lifestyle that I'm looking for." And that's what I try to share with people. Like, hey, let's buy the duplex because you do want the new car. Hey, you want to go on more trips? Let's buy the 4 unit to pay for the trips. Hey, you do want a mini mansion, right? Well, let's buy the 6 unit that pays for it, right? Your assets should be paying for your liabilities. That is the way to go. That is the way to do it. And that's what I preach, is that your assets should be paying for your liabilities. And I personally feel, this is me, that a single family house is a liability. And most people are like, well, what about the equity? To me, equity is paper money. It's not real until you actually use it, right? So until you have that capital event, which there's 3 of them, 3 capital events. 1, you sell it. That's the only way you can access the equity. 2, you do a HELOC. That's a home equity line of credit. That's the only other way to get access to some of that equity. And then a cash out refi. Cash out refi allows you to also get access to that equity and keep the property. So two ways to keep the property and get access to the equity, or the one way of just selling it to get access to the equity by getting rid of the asset. Most people want to keep it. So if you have a home, yep, you can be like, it's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 equity. Cool. Do something with it. If you can't do nothing with it, then you're just talking, right? So and that's a liability, right? And so that's why I also share with people, like, when I help you buy a duplex, that next month you're going to be receiving income. That's an asset. That's a business, right? Business from day one. You bought a business. Yeah, it people live there, and it's a 2-story building. That's a business. It's masquerading as a property. And as an investor, I try to help educate people that um, technically you are buying the future cash flow of that property, right? You're not necessarily buying the property. You're buying the cash flow that you can get from that property. And that's where I think other agents and some novice investors don't understand that. Yeah, I know that duplex down the street sold for this, but the duplex we're looking at, rents are not the same. I have to do things to this property that we're looking at to get it to the rents of that other duplex that sold for more. So for you to put it on a market and say, well, that duplex down the street sold for that amount, this duplex is the same size, same bedrooms, same everything, so it should be the same. That's retail real estate, right? That's when home buyers, hey, that home over there sold for this home is in the same area, they should be the same. Investors don't look at deals like that. Investors look at, what is my cash flow currently and what can my cash flow be in the future? That is what I'm paying for. I'm paying for the future cash flow. I'm not paying for the property, so to speak, in its current state. I'm paying for what it could be, because that's what investors pay for. They pay for future cash flow, right? And so this is what this calculator is helping you to do. And so let's move forward. So let me show you the property that we're going to go through. I actually just recently went through this property. I had a client, like I said, was looking at it, thinking about house hacking. So that's how we're going to approach this analysis. So this is a duplex that's currently on the market in Milwaukee. Um, so a few weeks back, I decided to start analyzing deals of properties that are already on the market. And, if I get some backlash because someone says, I wasn't too nice about, maybe their pricing or things of that nature. But I want to do a service to our market, especially when it comes to investors, and helping them understand so that they're not overpaying for something because it was priced wrong, but they are eager to become a real estate investor. I think a lot of people end up not becoming real estate investors because um, they buy the wrong property, they get the wrong team around them, and that's having the wrong agent up front. Um, an agent can have you buy something because something down the street sold for something similar, and their thinking is, well, that this property is in the same area, so they're worth the same. And that's completely not true. And I feel like there are a lot of novice investors out there who have portfolios that, to me, they fall in two categories. You're either a real estate investor or you're an investor who invests in real estate. And there's a major difference between two, because, right, there's stockbrokers and then there's investors who invest in stocks, right? So someone who invests in stocks is not a stockbroker, and that's the same thing I would say about real estate. You have your real estate investors, and that this is what they do, and then you have individuals who know they should invest in real estate, but this is not what they do, but they invest in it. And some people masquerade as real estate investors when they're actually investors who invest in real estate. So this property has been on the market. It's been recently. So again, I typically would say, if you're looking for discounts and things of that nature, anything that's over 30 days in our market is probably overpriced. I would also probably even say things that are on the market and it's been 2 weeks, they're probably overpriced. As you can see, our market is hot. Um, there's not a day I haven't went on the MLS and haven't saw an accepted offer from something, right? So our market is still hot, um, and it's just a matter of time you finding the deal that you want to take on. Um, So we have a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. We have one tenant in it. The other one's vacant. It takes all this information and it's going to put it in our deal. So I'm going to start off there. I already downloaded some of these files. So I'm just going to put that over there. Uh, Please run this document for A and S and then stop at P for me to give you more documents to move forward. So it's going through it. So now, and the whole reason why I do enjoy this calculator that I created, I think a lot of times, especially new investors, you're just plugging in numbers and you don't really know what is giving you back. I think a lot of times that's um, what confuse new investors or investors who have 2, 3, 4 properties and they haven't truly grasped yet. And so the whole point of this calculator is actually try to tell a story. It's trying to help you walk through to help you educate you while you're figuring this all out and seeing what really works for you, right? So it's breaking this down, right? And again, if this is something you're gonna get, like it gives you a lot of information that now you can put it in the file and be able to deal with it from a standpoint of understanding what you truly have, right? So we have a mix, 2 and 1. One is occupied, one is vacant. We're getting this. This is security deposit, at least as so this is a new tenant recently. The other one is updated. It's market ready. It's moving. Um, so updated kitchens, updated flooring, neutral interior finish, functional mechanical systems, appears well maintained from listing photographs. I agree. I only saw one unit. I saw the lower unit. I say outside is probably, could do some work. There's probably some work that need to be done on the gutters. Don't know about the roof, but siding probably could be some updated things as well. So it's listed, it gives the listing, it gives the price. So again, this is I ran this a couple days ago. It's on the market. Oh, excuse me. It's on the market 13 days. Again, right here, owner of record, Windstrip Properties LLC. Right. So now we know it's an LLC. They're going to try to approach this more from a business standpoint. And if they're truly just trying to get rid of it, I feel like they might be more logical. And that is not always the case. Like I said, when you're running numbers, financing is the eye of the beholder. It's not like accounting, right? Financing is, I believe it's worth this because, da 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 da, right? I believe the rents are going to go up. So because of that, because of the work we put in, it's worth this, right? Um, So seller motivate, under verify. I mean, it's LLC. There's no foreclosure, no distress. They fixed it up. There's no estate. There's no divorce, no relocation. So none of those things. It's only been on the market, like I said, 13 days currently right now, right? It has 8. Um, this is the asking price. Um, so we need to get some more information. So P. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in there a CMA. And evaluation report. So I'm going to try to analyze these. Um, for purchase assumption, um, we believe it's a little bit lower. I think we are around 245. Closing costs is going to be 2%. This deal, we're hoping to be a house hack. So I have a client right now who's pre-approved for a 5% conventional loan. So we'll be using that. And I believe it's at 6.5 percent interest rate. And his ultimate goal is to refinance out of this in the next 18 months and hopefully move it to a DSCR loan or just a regular conventional loan so that he can go and do this again. Um, please run this and then move to I. Ah, see, again, just reading some of this. Sorry for the quietness, but I was just reading. Got to know your market, right? I obviously I ran through some of this stuff, but I just assume that the price probably should be around 245. Obviously, I analyzed this, but again, just based off the numbers, right? There is a high of 258. It's you got average 242 to 273, right? So they were probably thinking, hey, we have a high of 273. Let's put it on the market at 269, and we'll have a bidding war. they were they probably would have gotten more noise if they would have made it a little bit lower, probably around the 240 mark. They probably got a couple people in there. Um, thing about it is most of the individuals probably looking at this is either going to be an owner occupied um, or an investor who has a nice down payment to lower it. Because it's going to be kind of hard to cover some of the stuff, but we'll go in that as well as we keep moving forward. So price assumptions. So we gave them some more information. This is the proposed purchase price. We got a conventional of 5%, interest rate 6.5, closing costs 2%, um, owner occupied house hack, exit objective 18 months. Closing costs 2% of that is 4,900. Estimated down payment is 12,000. Estimated loan amount is 232,750. Estimated cash needed before reserves is 17,000. Um, a lot of banks don't really necessarily ask that, but obviously, if you can have that in your um, reserves, would be awesome, right? Council purchase assessment, purchase target aligns with the broker CMA estimate of 245, right? So, like again, this is telling a story instead of just putting in numbers and then just pop out something else, right? It's um, right. That's the goal is to refinance in 18 months. Preliminary, high and best use, current lender, house hack, then buy and hold based on the information, right? So now we're in improvements. Because a lot of this stuff was updated, my more concern is the immediate repairs, right? So that's kind of what I'm going to put here. Um, because the mechanicals and the roofing are unknown, let's put the investment at 20 to 25,000. But that is not something that needs to be done right away. That could be done within the first 18 months to add value to the property. So we don't necessarily need to say we need to have this money up front. This could be something we get on the back end to do, but not necessarily something that needs to be done right away. Again, this is one of the reasons why I like this is because I can talk to it instead of just plugging a number. Like right now, I would have just plugged in 20,000 and it wouldn't have understood what I'm trying to accomplish. Right now, I put 20 to 25, right? Those are, that's important, right? To be able to engage with what you're using to give a fuller picture. If you just give numbers, I don't think you're necessarily always giving the full picture of what you're looking at, right? So it's giving us all like right roof replacement if needed, mechanical systems, right? I think there probably would be some of that because they would identify that. I think this is a situation where the investor took the property over, updated all the things that people see, and is trying to maximize it, right? So if I have to end up putting a new roof on and new mechanicals, that's why the price should be lower, right? If all those things were done, I probably would say it's probably worth the 260 to 270. But if I have to do those things, that's why I'm at the 245 or 235. Um, so we're going through it right again. It's going to tell us, right, the council supports distinguished deferred capital improvements, right? It's going even deeper and is explaining that this better reflects the intended house hacking strategy where the property is expected to be held habitable at closing and improvements are made over time to enhance value and prepare for a future refinance, right? It's helping educate you. And right, that was the whole point of this calculator, is to try to help educate individuals so that they can be better investors. It wasn't just to help you get, is the number right? And if the number's not right, move on, right? We want to help you understand this better so that you can be better real estate investment um, business owners, right? Because this is about business. This is business planning. This is forecasting. This is, these are the things that, I got my degree in business financing from UW Milwaukee. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be in this role, was because I think a lot of people don't understand that they're buying a business. So like, if you don't have a business plan, if you don't know how to forecast, if you don't know how to put a budget, all these things are necessary when you buy in a property. You just can't buy a property and say, okay, now I'm finna start collecting rents. Like, if that's what you think, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna struggle, and it's necessary for you to really understand and grasp that you're running a business. And to sit here and just throw in numbers and not understand where those numbers are coming from, why you're doing that, what is the plan, what is the outcome you're looking for, what are you ultimately trying to accomplish, and to articulate all those things in just words, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, um, and you're doing your business that you're trying to build a disservice. You're treating it as a hobby. And I think this is me just pulling random numbers out, but I feel majority of investors are hobbyists. They're not treating it like a real business and a real job until they get to a certain point. And honestly, I feel like some people, even when they get a portfolio and they got 20, 30 properties, some of them are still hobbyists. And those individuals, I just kind of call, you're an investor who invests in businesses, right? You're no different than someone who has a portfolio of stocks, and they're buying because they normally buy, right? That's having the 401k, right? That's no different than someone who having a 401k that just puts a certain amount of money in it and it allows them to buy it, right? They have it on auto run. They're not a stockbroker. I would never assume that they're a stockbroker or they are well versed in stock. They are just using the system to help them invest. And that's kind of what you could do in real estate as well. All right, with that being said, let's go to the revenue, and we're going to just use rental report. Uh, because this is going to be a burr. I mean, if this was a house hacking, I would have pulled back in the CMA, but I'm not going to do that. Please use this to run the report for rental revenue and what it could be. And please take into consideration that my client will be living in it in the first 18 months or shorter, hopefully 12 to 18 months, and that he will be renting out the unit after that. When we do the 10-year pro forma, please take in consideration that he will be collecting rent from both units after year 2. Again, sometimes that is hard to implement into a regular calculator. Hey, I'm going to be house hacking in the first 2 years, and then I'm going to be renting it out. So it immediately, it might say this is a bad deal because you're not bringing in enough income, not understanding that you're house hacking, right? So those are things that you really need to take in consideration, because the calculator is going to say, oh, you're only getting 900. Well, you might put in there, okay, I'm going to pay that amount. All right, well, I'm going to cover the rest, right? it might say that's a bad deal when it's not understanding the whole business plan that you're trying to implement and use, right? So yeah, from a cash flow standpoint, it's not cash flowing, right? Because you're living in one of the units, but that doesn't mean it's not a good deal. So you have to take those things with a grain of salt. So here we have here we have year one house hack, owner occupies 1 unit, rental income is not. So right there, right? So housing, not rental income, gross schedule income is 11,000. So he's getting 11,000 a year. So we just had that and just it's going to say this is a bad deal, right? Because it doesn't understand like, oh, why are you only getting half? Well, if you're only getting half, this is a bad deal. You know, don't do this deal, right? And that's not correct. And then year two and beyond, following your client's plan, to remain conservative, underwriting will not use the renter average of 13. Instead, it will underwrite each unit at 1250, right? It helped make that decision, right, based on certain stuff, right? So scheduled gross income is 2,500 a month to 30,000, right? Look at that jump. But you know what I tell my clients, you know, you should be trying to save half of what your tenants will be paying you. So in this situation, you know, 900, so 500. So roughly, you know, half of this is roughly almost 12,000. So you're almost saving 6,000 a year. So like that's something that I would tell all my clients is like, hey, try to put away half of what your tenants are paying you, so that you know you have that money ready for when you go get the next one, especially when in this situation, because you might not be able to pull as much money out. And so you will need to be putting money away for your next down payment. So we have conservative operating assumptions: 5%, 8% maintenance, capital reserve included separately, property management, taxes, insurance. Even though if he's living in it, he should be paying himself 8% property management, unless he's hiring out a property management company, right? Again, these are things that I don't think most agents are talking to their clients upfront because they're unaware, right? Are you talking to and I want to help agents, right? And I'm not trying to knock agents because I want to help educate them so they can work with more investors. But if you're not bringing up, hey, make sure you put 8% or 10% in property management fees in your analysis so that you can pay yourself, or you know, so you can pay yourself, and then when you are ready to hand it off to actual property management, you already have that money put aside, right? I don't think a lot of agents even understand that or even talking about that. So reach out to me if you're a real estate agent and want to work with more investors. I got a program for you. So preliminary revenue assessment, again, it just breaks it down, and then you got the 10-year performer right here, right? In year one, so it's breaking it down. It's giving you a business plan, right? So now you can give this business plan to someone, right? You can give this business plan to a private money lender. You can give this business plan to the lender that you're trying to get this deal from. You can give this business plan to the DSCR loan lender after you want to refinance out of it, right? Because it's breaking it down what you're trying to accomplish. But this is the plan, right? To E and give me the final verdict. So now we're at the end. It should take all this information and it's going to give us out, right? So we already, you know, obviously we kind of picked it. It's house hacking. House hacking kind of falls into buy and hold. You can have house hacking BRRRR. This situation is already kind of fixed up. There's not much there. You know, if it's a, you know, ideally this wouldn't fall under the BRRRR technically method because it's already fixing up. Obviously, there are things that it could do to force it, but you're not going to really get a lot of money back to redeploy it. So this is more of a cash flow play at this point. But it minimized the cash required, right? 5%. So it's kind of hard to pull, you know, equity out when you only have to put 5% down and you're not improving the value of the property a lot, right? You know, it's saying that the BRRRR is there contingent on refinance economics, right? It really depends on the new loan you're getting and what you're going to be able to do. Now, again, just because I refinance doesn't always necessarily mean I'm pulling cash out, right? You can just, in this situation, technically, because he has a 5% conventional loan, he might need to just refinance it into a regular conventional loan, but then he might need the equity in there, right? So the whole point of this is how does he get the next deal? So if he's not able to pull that out, he might have to do a DSCR loan for his next one. But again, this is part of strategy. This is part of working with your team to understand what is the best move for you. And I personally think the real estate agent broker, or in my case, the real estate investment broker, is a vital member of your team. So here we go. We got a purchase price 245, closing cost 2%, down payment 12,000, initial cash required 17,000. I think most lenders right now would not need that amount, but again, we're just going to have that in there on best case scenario. Improvements, minimum 20 to 25,000 within 18 months. Might be a little bit more. Year one, this is your gross rent. Year two, 2 units at 1250. Then an increase. Estimated year operating performance assumed using conservative expense assumptions. Gross schedule, vacancy, effective gross income, estimated operating expense 9 to 10,000. Estimated NOI. So right here's what you're taking home after year two. Right at year one, it wouldn't be that. So it might be hard with the assumed financing 5% now, 6.5 debt service likely to remain relatively high during the initial years based on these assumptions. The stabilized DSCR is expected to be around break even to slightly above 1.0, meaning the property requires owner's lower cost financing, right? So 10-year performer, year one, house hacking, year two, 2 units, year 3 to 5, moderate rent income, 7, continued equity accumulation with stabilized rent operation, 10, mature hold strategy with substantial principal pay down, right? So now this is where you're making money. So boom, off of all that, I would have naturally assumed that this is probably not a good deal, but the verdict is in. Council finds that acquisition price is supported. I think that's what I changed it. I think if we kept it at 265, this would not be a deal. Um, the council finds the owner occupied financial structure and material improves capital efficiency and supports, right? Because now they don't have to put 20% down for an investment property. They only have to put 5 down and they get to live in it. Um, and so we score each one through the Aspire calculator, and it breaks it down in these 5 categories: deal margin strength, data completeness, right? We give more points when you give more data because I think that's another thing that newer investors or novice investors, they make a lot of assumptions, and this calculator doesn't give you credit for assumptions. They want actual, you giving them and not saying, hey, you give me that information. If you ask, because it can pull stuff from and it'll give you stuff, but it's not going to confirm it. It forces you to do the work. Strategy fit, right? Again, if it understands your strategy, it's going to say, hey, you're way off course. Yeah, this is a great deal, but this is not what you do, right? Hey, I got a Starbucks. Cool, you're making money, but this is not what you do. So this doesn't fit your strategy. So you're going to get less points. It might still be a good deal, but it's saying, hey, this does not fit your strategy. And then risk profile, right? You want to buy a Starbucks, like that's not what you do, but the risk profile is a little bit higher because you're doing something you don't expect. So it just kind of pulls in all those things. Then it's going to let you know what it supports, like what is, the five things that it supports, and then the 4 to 5 things that it flags. Right, I brought up the roof and mechanical. Um, we Insurance and operating expenses were assumed. Initial debt service may constrain cash flow. Right, refinance should not be assumed as guaranteed. Right, what the council requires to improve approvals: property inspection, insurance quote, final lender fee sheet, verify operating expenses, confirm refinance feasibility based on actual post. Right now, you have something to go after. Right, if you just would have put this in a calculator, he wouldn't have gave you all this. Right, I went and inspected the property. Right, didn't get an insurance quote yet. Then so these are the next steps that you should be doing. Right, and then Aspire goal, achieve a stabilized DSCR of at least 1.20 within 24 months while preserving positive cash flow. It's like, okay, how do we do that? If this is the goal, how do we accomplish it? And then it says this is the order. And this, again, this is what I love. It try to tell you, okay, negotiate towards the 245, obtain a full home inspection, verify roof, right? That's what's going to happen with the home inspection, secure insurance quotes, complete the plan, 20 capital improvement within the first 18 months, reevaluate refinancing, and re-underwrite the property before refinancing, right? It's giving you things to keep moving. And that's what Aspire is all about, is execution. What are we doing next? How do we keep moving? How do we keep moving the chains? How do we keep moving towards the ultimate goal that we're trying to chase? Acquire below supported market value, execute the house hacking plan with disciplined capital improvements, and transition the duplex into a conservative cash flowing low-term asset without relying on optimistic refinancing assumptions, right? It's still saying we have a little pie in the sky, and if we can fix that, more the merrier, right? Um, so there you have it. That is how we analyze a deal, taking the information off the market. Again, I am a licensed real estate broker here in the state of Wisconsin. I like finding deals on market. I know people like finding deals off market. I personally feel deals on the market has market um, interaction, right? It has market understanding. It has market influence. The market is speaking, right? So if something's been sitting on the market for 45 days, the market is telling you the price is wrong. But if you've been telling people you are willing to sell for 45 days and you're trying to find an off market, the market is not telling you anything. Is you're just like, well, I'm not doing enough. Maybe I haven't talked to all the right people. No, your price is wrong, right? And if you have it on the market, the market will be telling you the price is wrong because someone would be willing to buy it. And a lot of investors um, think the market is wrong sometimes. They're like, well, I'm just waiting for the right buyer. Well, the right buyer is out of there because technology has changed all that. Right. Back in the day, you might be correct with that statement. But now I don't agree because I got people in Chicago, I got people in Texas, I got people in California, I got people, that I work with that is looking at our market. And if they came across the right property, they're gonna bounce on it. So to sit here and say, well, the people in the market don't know about it. Yeah, they do. It's on Zillow, it's on MLS, it's on realtor.com, it's finished soon to be on Google, right? So it's on Next Home My Way site, right? That's our stuff. It shows up on other realtors, brokerages sites because it pulls from the MLS. So way more people know about your property when it's on the market. So if it's not selling and it's an investment property, it's probably priced wrong. I would probably say 8 times out of 10, it's priced wrong. And so that is part of why we're doing this so that we can help educate people on how to do this and to go back. So this is Aspire Investing. That's Aspire Real Estate Investing. Our mission, um, you know, Aspire Investing exists for ones who show up, do the work, and build real lasting wealth through disciplined transaction, institutional grade development, and world class investor education. That's what we're trying to do, right? And our mission is to build a self-sustaining real estate ecosystem where those willing to learn, execute, and grow can create real lasting wealth for themselves, their families, and their communities. We are turning ambition into assets and effort into legacy, right? This is not about buying properties. So if you're trying to buy properties, you should go find another agent or you should come and work with us so you can understand it's bigger than just trying to buy properties. You are trying to build a real estate investment business that lasts beyond you. This is about building legacies. This is about building things that are bigger than yourselves, right? And we have certain engines, right? Transaction philosophy. That's the brokerage, right? We bring that. Me and Devin, we're both brokers. We work for different brokerages, but we came together because of this passion that we have. The wealth engine. We try to help people build with fix and flip, new construction, and help them get through that process. So if you are trying to do fix and flips or new construction, we can help you with that, right? A lot of people, that's how they get started. Um, the difference between us and a wholesaler is that we're licensed, right? We can help you do the deal ourselves. We can help you find a buyer, or we can put it on the market. Most wholesalers, they either have a buyer for you or they can't help you. Um, So we can help you because of us licensed. We're licensed brokers. We can help you through that whole process. The education ecosystem. It's a, we have a 6 level curriculum built from Lion, Bull, Investor, right? Lion, Bull, Dragon, um, to Phoenix. Lion, Bull, Dragon, Phoenix. Um, and each level has 3 levels. And so we have school curriculum, and I can show you that as well. Um, this is our school. This is our classroom. So we also provide right now. I just want to make a big shout out our 90-day program. We're finishing up this cohort, but in September we're starting another one where we're offering it free. So if you are interested in trying to get your first or your next property in 90 days, reach out to us. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, DM me September, and we will go through the application process to see if you're a good fit. But we are offering this free for the first time to get to help those individuals out there looking for their first or next deal in 90 days. Obviously, again, we offer other training once you are in the program. So if you do become one of our members, we have 3 tiers. Um, so we have our standard, which is $29, which that offers you the ability to come to our monthly meetings. It's the second Wednesday of every month. Our next one is in August. I believe it's 10th. I could be wrong. Or August 9th, I think. Yeah, I think it's August 9th. So that $29, it gets you access to some of our discussions, our general discussion, and you get some basic resources, documents, things of that nature. Your premium is 99. You get everything, and we'll give you access to the 90-day program as well. We don't run it, but you get access to it, so you can use the tools, resources, and go at your own pace. But then you also get exclusive member only access to Aspire other courses. So that'll take you through the bull, the lion, the bull, the dragon, all those things as well. And then you'll get also access to our Aspire podcast and archive and bonus episodes, the things that we do. Um, Again, this weekly deal analysis, we do some extra stuff for our members that you will get access to as well. And then our VIP is 5,000 a year. Priority access to all our stuff. You get access to some of our deals that we bring. You get all the other perks, and then we'll actually help you vet deals, help you structure them, and help you underwrite, and even help with negotiation. The beauty of us being real estate brokers, we can do that where if you're just, the real estate guru, there's a fine line, there's consultation, but we can actually, this is a way we can represent you, or, you can hire us from a consultant standpoint, but at least you have access to that, right? So that is our tier of, Aspire and what we offer. And then our last one is the mentor mandate. At the end of the day, we are trying to help people build businesses. And this is more than just one-off deals, right? We're trying to build a legacy, and this is part of the legacy. And this is some of the things that we ask from our members once they get to a certain point. We want them to give back. We want them to become mentors within our Inspire to keep the cycle going, right? It's the ecosystem. The ecosystem only works is that if you got individuals pouring into it, and so that it can pour into other members and new members, and then hopefully those members become someone that wants to pour in it, and then pour into new members as well. And that's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish here. There you have it. There you have it. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is the movement we have. This is all about raising the standard of living for all those individuals out there and inspiring for a better life, right? And that's how I tie these two things together, is that all this is about aspiring for a better life. You want to raise the standard of living for yourself, your family, and your community. And we're just trying to bring that all together for those individuals who want to use real estate as the vehicle to do that. I'm a big proponent that there's 5 things that builds wealth. That is investing in bonds, that's investing in stocks, That's investing in local businesses. That's investing in real estate. And that is investing in other individuals and other entrepreneurs and other ideas. And to invest in ideas, that means you're investing in someone. That someone is going to create a local business. That local business need to rent somewhere or buy something real estate. Eventually they're going to have looking for investors to invest in their business, and that could be stocks, that could be, that could be on the market on the stock exchange, or that can be local investors in your community that gives you money to grow your business, right? It's the same thing. And then eventually you will be able to offer certain things where it's like offering bonds, right, where you get institutions that invest in you or other individuals that want to give you a lump sum of money so you can go do what you're trying to accomplish. Those are 5 wealth vehicles that I feel that creates wealth and sustains it. And real estate is just one of those vehicles. Thank you again for joining me. I am Charles Anthony D. Clark, your real estate investment broker, here with another bright idea.